Hi guys, former Tory MP and leadership candidate Rory Stewart fell into a bit of a Brexit trap when he was speaking to Mark Carney, the ex-head of the Bank of England. Rory put the point to him about Project Fear. Now this was a response by Brexiteers like Boris Johnson to what would happen to Britain and its economy if the UK were to leave the European Union back in 2016. Rory here pointed out that the former Chancellor George Osborne was wrong when he suggested that the UK would take a hit back in 2016. Carney here schooled the ex-Tory.
You don't get the hit from Brexit until you actually leave. You actually get the dampener in terms of the exchange rate before you leave. But eventually, the UK does leave. And eventually, you get the impact, the accumulated impact, which is what we're seeing now in terms of lower investment, scrapping plant and equipment, lower exports, lower income growth, lower productivity. All of that is coming to pass. We have lower labor force participation now. Part of that is because of COVID and other factors. But the hit is starting to accumulate, and it will accumulate on current trajectories to the orders of magnitude of a 10% difference in GDP that people had expected. Now, last point. Things can change, the relationship can change. Other economic policies can help change the trajectory here. So it's not like the country is without agency, but directionally, those predictions were right. And it was, and what was compared in the immediate aftermath of Brexit, just to reemphasize the point, of the Brexit referendum was an economy that had not left the European Union yet.
Well said. Now, there are a number of things to be mentioned here. First of all, Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of England, was doing his best to try and protect the UK economy following the Brexit vote. So he knew that, okay, if we're to leave the European Union, we're leaving the European Union, the vote came in, but what I need to do as governor of the Bank of England is to protect the economy where I can. So some of the damage of Brexit has been mitigated by Mark Carney himself before he left his post. But the main point, of course, is that when the UK voted to leave, the impact of Brexit was not immediate. The pound dropped. There was a beginning of the exodus of investment, but the impact was pretty minimal on the economy. The UK still was a member of the European Union. The trading relationship was still in place. But the impact of Brexit began in 2021. So when the UK left the European single market, that's when the trouble began. So when the predictions were made back in 2016. Some of those predictions were based, of course, on the UK economy back in 2016, which was in a completely different situation than it was in 2021. But then also we must remember that Brexit has not been fully implemented. Not all checks are being carried out. More checks are expected on goods coming into the UK economy next year. So Brexit happened in stages. It didn't all happen in one go. Now, some of the predictions back in 2016 by Remainers were based on Brexit all happening in one go. So if Brexit did happen all in one go, the economy would have been in a much worse situation. But because Brexit is not happening all at the same time, it's happening in stages, and it also happened during the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Those two other issues have sort of taken away from the damage of Brexit is impacting. So it allows the Tories to, in a sense, blame something else and not let Brexit be blamed. But those issues are being resolved, in a sense, economically. The pandemic is over economically, and the war in Ukraine is having less of an impact on the UK economy. So the arguments that you can use, the excuses of those are disappearing. So we come back to Brexit once again. But he's right when he says that it's not set in stone. We have a Labour government probably taking over next year, and they will take a more pragmatic approach to Brexit. They will hopefully work closer with the European Union, try to resolve some of these issues. But it remains the case that as long as Great Britain, I should say, not the UK, but as long as Great Britain stays out of the single market, these problems are going to persist. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.